just got back from re-looking at some of my notes here. We were talking about Mike Pence and his, well, he was upset. He was upset because Flynn didn't tell him everything. General Flynn was the national security advisor to Donald Trump. And I guess when when everything was going on, when they were getting ready, I guess it was before the inauguration, there were some questions about if any of Trump's cabinet, anyone associated with Trump, had talked with Russia. You remember, Russia was this big ordeal. Russia stole the election. Every major news outlet has been talking about it except Fox. Fox versus the other one was like, this is freaking absurd. Well, I mean, they have an interest to preserve, the Republican Party and preserve Trump as an icon for that party. But Flynn didn't tell them everything. At least Washington Post even said it. Well, Flynn just didn't tell them the whole story. Right? And a little background with Flynn before. Michael Flynn, in his book, is stated as being a lifelong Democrat. Right? He's a lifelong Democrat. His family comes from a strong Democratic family. Voted Democrat all his life. Married, children, dog, likes surfing. Definitely a, definitely a strong, some of his views are strong Democratic views. Gets appointed, he gets appointed to go to, I believe it was Iraq or Afghanistan, maybe both, as military intelligence agent. 2014, I believe. 2012. I have to go back and read the article, but a lot of the stuff I speed read. Forget to write some of the dates down, but you can find it. Just look up Michael Flynn on Wikipedia, and you're going to find some information about when he went over during the Obama administration. He comes out, serves his country, and the election campaign starts rolling, and you see Michael Flynn supporting Donald Trump. Now, why would this guy? Why would this guy be a lifelong Democrat, chastise Obama, criticize Hillary? I mean, there was that big to-do about when he got up and was talking about the Democratic Party isn't the party that I used to know. And then the crowd starts chanting, "Lock her up! Lock her up!" And he kind of just nods and smiles enthusiastic. Washington Post kind of misled the article. Spun it, definitely. Like, as if he was encouraging it, as opposed to just encouraging the center and just left to center to come over to the Republican Party because they're tired of the Democratic BS. Now, why would he go from a Democrat? Why would he go and lean towards a Republican? Not really a traditional Republican. I mean, Trump, let's get this out of the way. He's a New York oligarch that knows how to deal with unions and Democrats. I mean, New York City, you can't get anything done without the unions. I mean, it's mob mentality. That's for sure. But he's an intelligence officer, right? He's military intelligence. Works for the Defense Intelligence Agency. His whole goal is to be the single point of intelligence for the Pentagon. Well, I think one of his statements, he's super anti-Iranian. I mean, he is not. He does not want Iran to be there. I don't know what this guy's faith is, but I could speculate it might be Catholic just because of his strong democratic values. But I'd have to look it up. But he said a lot of things. It was wanting to dismantle or encouraging antagonism between the United States and Iran, which isn't a big Russia. That's not really good for American-Russia relations. And if anything, it cut the neocons out of Trump's organization that he's building up there. I guess Priebus wanted him out too. There's, he was the ultra paranoid intelligence officer. God forbid he was to be left alone in the Oval Office with Trump. I mean, that's one article I read about. But this guy he's a family guy. I mean, his book definitely paints him as like just a normal American who doesn't like surfing, especially on the West Coast. Surfing's huge. He was with the DIA. All they did was cut out their resource from Trump's. I mean, who knows? He could have been the one supplying the intelligence. He could have been the one. He probably did it to himself. It's speculation. But Pence wasn't happy with him. It doesn't sound like Trump was either. So, some good riddance there. General Flynn. I don't know much about the guy other than what I've read. He's served his country in a war we shouldn't have been in an occupation we shouldn't have been in. But you got to give the guy some props. And just to know a little bit about CIA's involvement, and for that matter, Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA's. Look up Ryan Dawson. I think Timothy Kelly interviewed him on Our Interesting Times. Look up that podcast. That guy is so knowledgeable. He's like a library. I don't know how he retains on that stuff, but look up his interview with Ryan Dawson. I think you're going to be satisfied with it. And Ryan Dawson, he's done some things on the JFK. He writes films. He produces films, directs them. But he's a wealth of knowledge also. Ryan Dawson, CIA's connection with neo-globalism, which is really a right-left juxtapose. Do you understand? And I might be using that word incorrectly, but it's really just a one coin, juxtapose, with two sides juxtaposed, stuck to the same thing. Appearing as two sides, but really one. I mean, the neo-libcon idea. Don't make it. Globalism is what we're trying to fight, which I find interesting if you study libertarianism. This Trotsky and Marxist ideas are found in libertarianism, which I find bit humorous. You know, this free trade concept. That's globalism, guys, on an economic scale. We don't want that. Not if you're interested in any sort of economic segregation, you know. But I don't know if, but I mean, this was all starting off with the idea that Trump is actually a stalking horse. And Lionel on Lionel Nation, he kind of talked about that. And he said, I mean, think about this. This is kind of a cool conspiracy. I like it. It's not a theory. It's just conspiracy analyst, I believe Lionel says. He condones that. He's a conspiracy analyst. So, if you wanted to get to an animal, if you walked up to it like a deer, and you're an Indian, and you're walking up towards a deer, it's going to look at you, it's going to run away. You send your horse in first, and you step behind it, and you use the horse to shield your view. And as soon as the horse steps out of the way, and you're close enough, your bow goes off and you kill the deer. The deer doesn't recognize you're there because he's in a horse in. Deer doesn't give a shit. You know, it's not a predator. You are, right? So think of Trump as the stalking horse, and Pence is there as the hunter, as the predator. My question really to Lionel is, what exactly is he hunting? What is he trying to take out? What is he trying to dominate? Or what is he trying to do? I mean, how tragic would it be if, God forbid, something happens to Trump and now we got Pence as president? Not unlike the JFK Lyndon Johnson ordeal. Right? Johnson did get us into Vietnam. He did increase CIA funding, supported CIA. Everything that JFK was talking about, he redacted as soon as he was in office as president. So think about that. What is he hunting? Who is Pence? Because that's what you have to look at. Cheney kind of controlled Bush's organization. You know, whoever put money in Halliburton stock during the early 2000s, whew, those people are rich. Those people are rich now. So I guess kind of wind it down to the last segment. Just kind of wanted to go through some Twitter rants. I usually would like to start doing that in the last 15 minutes, just the crazy stuff. Also, I like to get my shout outs in there. Some people who are not only smart, but they're fighting the good fight. I believe they're for real. Subscribe to them. I talk about them, listen to them, and I support what they're doing. So it's my job as a podcaster, as someone who doesn't have a lot of money, but still wants to go out and support the cause, to promote them in everything that I'm doing. So we're up for the last segment. I hope you guys are enjoying it, and we'll be back.